Hi, welcome to Tamika's Storytime. This is a cautionary tale of how love can go so wrong. This particular story is about Christina Abner and Keith Merriam Lee, who resided in Houston, Texas. This was a man being chased by many demons, in which ultimately took full occupancy of his mind, leading up to the night he committed the hideous act on his loved one. On December 15th, 2023, Christina and her children were sleeping in the bed. Her three children were asleep in the master bedroom when they were awakened by the attack of Keith Merriam Lee, who began to bludgeon each of them with the butt of a shotgun as they slept. Waking up to the horrific screams from their mother and their siblings. The oldest child managed to escape the attack as it was occurring. She slipped out of the bed and grabbed hold of her 3-year-old little brother. As she pulled him from the bed to exit the bedroom, her 6-year-old brother followed suit. They staggered out of the bedroom and down the hall as the screams of their mothers was heard as they tried to escape and to the front door of the home. To get out, the little girl dropped her baby brother trying to unlock the door and escape out of the home. She managed to flee into the night because this was at 1 o'clock in the morning, and she managed to get out the front door, as so her 6-year-old brother behind her. And when she did, she began to scream, a gut-curdling scream, as she screamed for help for her baby brother and her mother. She heard the shotgun go off in the home, which caused her to run out of the street and to stagger across the street to a neighbor's home. Her and her younger brother rang the doorbell in efforts to get some help. And when the neighbor did open the door, to their horrific surprise, they seen this young child standing there shaking, covered in blood, and her, as well as her baby brother, her little brother. And she said, "My baby brother is in the house. My mommy is in trouble." So they called the police, and sure enough, when the police arrived at the location, the 5100 block of Cosby Street, they approached the children, and the little girl pointed to the house. And as the cops approached the door was wide open. They went inside and discovered the baby laying on the floor. As they were coming in, the 3-year-old, which was severe, he was severely injured upon the head. And as they went further into the home, they discovered the Christina Abner, who was deceased from a fatal gunshot wound. And with that, they also found Keith Merriam Lee on the roof of a neighbor's home. He was also caught on the ring camera of the neighbor, who the little children ran into the neighbor's front door. They could see on the ring camera this man walking on the top of the roof from one home to another, as he then began to lay on the roof. And as they did an investigation with the neighbors, they spoke about the mind of the individuals and what they encountered throughout the weeks leading up to that fateful night on December 15th, 2023. Mr. Keith Merriam Lee was exhibiting some strange behavior before the weeks that he acted a vicious attack on his family. He projected a vicious attack on his family. This man, excuse me, this is my tea, and this is my super greens I like to put in my tea. So, whole body cleanse. This helped me get over, I just got over being sick, but bear with me. This man was exhibiting strange behaviors. He was doing drugs, okay? And the drug that he was doing was a very harsh drug, okay? And it caused him to start being paranoid, becoming very aggressive. The neighbors, from the neighbors' observation, this man became very agitated, very quickly, fairly quickly, for no reason, no apparent reason. He just seemed to be very on guard, making clear that it was demonic spirits trying to attack him and take over. And this was his words to the neighbor. He's being chased by demons. So those demons were chasing this man. Not to give any, justification for what he did, because there is none, to be clear. But again, this is what was said. This man was definitely being chased by demons, and those demons took full occupancy of this man's mind. That's why it's imperative to stay close to God. It's very necessary. Demons are real, and they will attack. As you can see, the mayhem that's going on in the world today. This is a prime example of another attack of the spirit. Now, this man will spend the rest of his life in jail due to those actions, his conduct on his family, and which ultimately took his wife's life, and and his children's mother away, and an attack on his children as well. But leading up to that December 15th, the police was called 3 times within 6 months before that fatal attack occurred. This woman has been fighting and trying to save her family for a long time. This is a love story that happened many years, well over 10 years ago, and she was introduced to this man by a loved one of her in her family, and they were very much in love, and but she loved her family, but she loved her children, and as any mother would, she was trying to protect her and her children. So that night, because he's been so off balance, that Keith Miriam Lee, he was so off balance within those few weeks prior to that night. She's been sleeping, had the kids in the room with her, and had them in the bed with her, because of the continuous arguing, fighting that was going on within the home. She didn't feel comfortable, and they didn't feel comfortable with leaving their mother alone with him. So they all would sleep in the bed with her, and she would have her babies in the bed with her so that she could keep them safe and be safe. But unfortunately, that wasn't enough. Prior to that day, abuse had taken place. He had hit her. This is Keith Marion Lee, attacked his wife inside the home. An argument ensued, and he struck out, and he hit her. And when she called the police, he fled. So that was something. Then she did not want to press any charges on him. That was a case that, again, she trying to protect her family, trying to save face for her children, trying to keep this man in her life, but in her children's life, so they wouldn't be without a father. Again, to be clear, there's never, if you feel like you have to hit, that goes for a man or a woman. If you feel like you're in a relationship where you have to lash out and physically attack, it's time to move on or take that walk to do mind clearing, to clear your mind. Because if you don't, you will find yourself either in a body bag or behind bars. So those are the options that you have if you continue to nourish the offender, if you will, rather it be man or woman. If you give into that and you want to, nourish that relationship, and it can lead to very bad things, and none of it's good. All's bad. Okay, I don't see no fairy tales and balloons and lollipops coming out of no situation like that. Okay, and especially if a person's under the control of narcotics, whatever that narcotic may be. Excuse me. But back again, she was trying to keep her family, trying to support her family. She just got a new job where she became a manager of a big corporation, and she was looking forward to her new endeavors with her new job, her new opportunities to be in a different environment and to be under a different team and a different company. She worked for Walmart for a long time as a clerk, and now she had risen to the corporate level, and before her life was tragically taken away. So and children lost their mother, and that's always a sad and disheartening thing for me. And this woman did everything to make sure that he was okay and to try to safeguard and shield her family and to shield her husband. She didn't want to have him left behind, or she didn't want anything to happen to him. Ooh. She didn't want anything to happen to him, and she tried to do everything in her power to keep her family together, and to no avail. It ended up ultimately costing her her life, and it's sad, and my heart goes out to the family, to Miss Abner's family and friends, all who knew and loved this family and who are trying so hard to get past this tragedy. This is a cautionary tale of no matter how hard we try, some things cannot be saved. We have to know and realize when a relationship has come to the end of its road. Yes, we go in with the intent to, that forever, till death do us part, or whatever, for the long haul, but not always. It ends that way, and we have to be comfortable with knowing that it's okay to walk away, and it's okay to let go. It's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all. This is the oldest saying and cliche, if you will, of life. But again, it's better to love and lost than to never have loved at all. So we all must come to that understanding and realization that sometimes that walk may not be for a lifetime. That walk may be for as long as the relationship is salvageable, if you will. Once the damage has been done, once the love is lost, it's time to have that talk, to say, okay, I support you in moving forward, wherever what that forward may lead you to. And I hope that you support me in wherever my journey leads to, especially when there's children involved. You have to be more mature, more able to accept each other's decision to move forward, rather it be with or without you. Just as long as there's a safe room and a safe element for the children or the child to be able to have that co-parenting go on. When there's drugs involved, is always a disadvantage for the parent who is suffering with drug use. So they're going to need a lot. They're going to need a lot more support from other people to be able to have that co-parenting really be effective, if you will. But it's not a end all. It's not a death sentence for the person until you act on those 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 demonic, if you will, choices that's whispering in your ear or in your head or attacking your spirit, and you let it take full occupancy in your mind. You will. It's going to be a death sentence for you, and this is a prime case of that. This man allowed those demons to take full occupancy of his mind. Rather, he did so voluntarily or involuntarily. Once he realized that his spirit was under attack, I mean, he needed to go and get some spiritual cleansing done, some spiritual healing. He needed to have that spiritual atonement with God. Nobody can do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. So, again, this is a tragedy of a love story that went in a tragic turn of events, a turn that was tragic in its events, okay? And again, children are without parents. They lost not just their mother, they lost their father. And again, it leaves other people, other loved ones to pick up the pieces. And this is where it comes in at we all have to chip in when it's a family member, because it takes a village to raise children. And this is a prime example, and especially when the parents are not there. And it's very important that these children have love and be nurtured in love and be taught in love, so, and brought up in love. So I give this as a cautionary tale for us all. No one's exempt from it. All of us who, if you want love in your life and you're living, you don't even have to be involved in love. Excuse me, because I'm suffering with a cold and I'm getting over it. Bear with me, please. So, again, it takes a village to raise children, and none of us are exempt from the effects or the betrayal of love, if you will. And myself coming from a betrayal relationship, I know what it's like to be on both ends of the spectrum, if you will, abusee, or whatever, abuser, if you will. I tried not to abuse anyone, but that could be taken on. That's a vast scale. You could verbally abuse somebody and not even know it. You could abuse a person's love for you. Okay, so it comes in many aspects. It's not just limited to one thing or abuse. When you think of abuse, you think of black eye, beat down, all that. It goes a long way. Not all of it is sometimes physical abuse. It could be psychological abuse. It could be abuse of love, abusing a person's love for you, So, I mean, none of us are exempt from tragedy. And that's just the way that it is. And that you need that personal relationship with the Lord so that you could be spiritually safe as well as physically safe, so that you will be able to always be in a safe space, if you will. And those demons won't penetrate through to your mind and take over and be full occupancy in your body and take over your mind. So we need to always keep that at the forefront of our mind, body, and soul. So I say, stick in with your girl. You won't be disappointed. I have more cautionary tales, testimony, if you will. I like to give you something for the mind, the body, and the soul. So I say, be blessed, be a blessing to someone else so that the Lord can continue to bless you. Hit that notification button and that subscription button. Give me thumbs up. I appreciate it, and I look forward to serving you more with some story time. Peace.